Hiya. Well, for those who know me, I attempted the Pennines in 10 days. Today, I'm going to attempt to explain IR35 in 10 minutes. Keep it short. IR35, what is it for a start of? Gordon Brown put it together in 1999. It was the 35th on the agenda. Inland Revenue discussing that day with the Treasury, so therefore was called IR35. Nothing other more treacherous than that. IR35 also has not changed in over 20 years. It's still the same. When it was put together, it had criteria, and those still exist now. Largely, if visiting the CES tool, you'll find those to be substitution, mutual obligation, and control. So, what's going to change on April the 6th? Not a lot. If we look at IR35 not changing fundamentally over that period, then why all of a sudden April the 6th is like a sword of Damocles over subcontractors? It's because the Treasury, in collusion with the Chancellors too, that's Philip Hammond and possibly Rishi, have sought to introduce an alligator into the swamp. And this alligator now will go round biting bottoms until it comes to the one of least resistance. So if HMRC wanted to pursue a complaint against an individual contractor, they would have to take the director and his company to task at tax tribunal, and try and prove that they were inside or outside of IR35 or disguised employment. That's what it is really. After April the 6th, the criteria has moved, so the alligator moves further up the swamp, and he now can bite the bum of Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, Stobbards, whomever, to which they arrive and then they say, whom do you employ which is a subcontractor? Can you give me a list? They then work down the list and then pursue to see whether any of those are not paying the correct tax. If they're not paying the correct tax and national insurance, they may charge the end user. Tesco's, Asda's and all of those larger employers are running scared. They could end up with an enormous bill. Supposition, largely, because they can only end up with a bill if the money's owed. Now, all I can say about our clients are that they pay the national insurance, they pay their income tax, they pay employers' national insurance, and they pay corporation tax at the end of the year. They pay taxes in 3 separate ways, more so than an employed person. So, what do we do about somebody confronting you with you've got to be an employee? The first thing that might happen is there'll be a constriction of rates because it costs a lot of money to employ somebody. Thereby putting you on their payroll is going to cost them a considerable amount of money, to which they'll reduce the rate. So you'll get a reduction in rate and quite possibly no control over the taxation. If you remain a contractor, you have a couple of things you can do. You can come to your tax advisor, accountant, agent and ask them for an SDS. SDS being a statement of determined service, which identifies exactly where you are in the contractual chain and whether you run a compliant company paying income tax, national insurance and corporation tax at the correct level. If you're not a client of ours, you need to seek your own tax advisor or agent or accountant's advice. If you're a client of ours, you already work compliantly. We can prove by the production of an SDS and all documentation surrounding it for the year of 2021 that you pay all taxes and national insurance when due, on time and in full. So the worry is that end users will dictate that they will blanket, that is a blanket decision, and their accountants and legal advisors will be running scared and say that they will not engage any more independent contractors, whether they be self-employed or limited company directors, thereby safeguarding themselves. Actually, in the truth of the legislation, if you take it to the letter, they're not allowed to do blanket decisions. They should assess individuals individually, using the SDS as a primary document, in which case that can go to a decision later. If any of the parties disagree, they have 45 days in which to put in an appeal against that decision. Only a few of very, very astute, I would imagine, recruitment agencies will go down this route, and I've stated this in my blogs on Facebook, KPB Monarch, and my website here, that those few astute recruitment agencies who do their job properly and with due diligence and discover that it is perfectly okay to take an independent contractor whom is paying his tax, his or her tax, then they'll have no problems. I see in the future a perfect storm, a tsunami which will hit freight industry, IT consultants, NHS staff, so on and so forth. I know NHS staff were privy to the 2017 public application of IR35, but there's still a few peripatetic teachers and so on and so forth who would love to remain independent. I don't think there's much more I can say other than that we will provide an SDS and we will provide all the tax confirmations of payment for all our clients. There has been something in the papers this week, if I can just disclose that from somewhere, and it referred to the Uber decision. So the Uber decision, that was just over 30 drivers out of, I would imagine, several thousand, decided that they would seek employment status. My own opinion is, why didn't they go and get a bloody job? But I'll keep that to myself. Uber drivers then complained that they hadn't got the right minimum pay, rewards, and all those associated with employment. It was taken to tribunal. It's taken nearly 4 years to get there. It was 2016. No, bad maths. It's nearly 4, 5, 6 years before it came to fruition, and the decision was made by the judge. However, if I can cite the decision, one of the principles behind that decision, and I will read directly from it. The judge's ruling stated clearly that the drivers are in a position of subordination and dependency in relation to Uber, such that they have little or no ability to improve their economic position through professional or entrepreneurial skills. All the contractors that we deal with at our practice have professional and entrepreneurial skills, which the best benefits can be achieved by moving through the marketplace upward and sometimes downward, but mostly upward, to more and more professional positions. I think that underpins quite clearly that we are outside of IR35, and if anyone wishes to make contact with us, our clients or not, please do so by the normal means. That's either by doing an inquiry on this website, or ringing or emailing any one of the numbers that's available to you. I hope that was okay. It was short and sweet. I believe I've done it within 10 minutes. I think it was more difficult than the Pennine Way, but I do hope that if you should have any questions, please don't bombard Nicola too much. If there are any principal questions going forward, I will answer them on a second, third or fourth video when it is required. Thank you very much for your patience.